Hi, so I have this scene, and what I wanted to do is I had, a lot of grass and a tractor and all this, and I wanted to add a little bit extra to it. So I thought maybe some ivy would be good. And luckily in Blender, there's a free add-on. It comes installed but not activated, and you need to go to the add-ons and add it in there. Here's a couple examples. There's some on the tractor, there's some on the fence, there's some climbing up the side of the farmhouse there. And since it was in look dev mode, I put it into actual rendering, and you can see that the alpha that I'm using in the shader is applied. If I go back, then you kind of see some of the black around the leaf images that I'm using. So you just go down to preferences and you turn on this IvyGen add-on, and what you do is it shows up over here under create, and you can see it's kind of grayed out where it says add new ivy, and you can see there's a random seed that you give it. If it's you want to limit how much time it takes, it really doesn't take that much time. So ivy length, it looks like 3 meters is the maximum, so you need to adjust your model a little bit so that 3 meters gives you kind of the look you want. There's some size and length adjustments you can do. There's some weights, and you can play around with these. Don't go crazy on a lot of these. The branch probability and ivy branch size, you really don't want to go too far away from what the defaults are. If you do, boy, you'll get some really crazy looking geometry in there. And grow leaves, we'll add the leaves on there. So what you need to do, I'll turn on the screencast so you can see what I'm doing, is if I wanted to go up this post here, I do a shift and then right mouse button to reposition the cursor. And then if I click the object that I want to have the ivy grow on, it's going to start at that 3D cursor and then kind of crawl up whatever object I choose. So let me lower the length a little bit. I played around with this before, and I seem to get something that I liked here with 2 meters. And this is what it generates. There's 2 objects. There's ivy, the stems here, ivy curve, and then there's also a set of leaves, and those show up as planes. So what I did with the others, I had if I go to the shader, I can show you. I think I went to ambient CG and got some textures here, and one is a leaf and the other is sort of a black and white image that I'm using to plug into the alpha so that it gives you kind of a transparency where the leaf image is not. So there's 2 different images here. One's a mask and one's called albedo. And so the mask is going into the alpha and albedo is going into the color. And here if I go over to scripting, and if I change this so that it's a image editor, I can show you what these images are. There's the leaf, so it's just a leaf with a black background. And then there's a mask that's white where the leaf is and black everywhere else. So that's all that I'm using for those leaves, to keeping it simple so it doesn't go crazy or anything. And then on the stems, if I click down here on the stems, all I did there So I just gave it kind of a dull green kind of color. And that's what I'm using, kind of an olive drab kind of color there. And really that's kind of all there is. You just need to remember you have to select a location to start it from, and then pick the object that you want it to go up on. And to have it kind of go along the fence like it is in the front. It kind of went up the post, and then kind of where you have the wires going through the between the post to go across, I had to kind of play around with where that starting point was. And then both the wire and the wooden posts are in the same object. And that's basically it. So if you like it, please like or subscribe. And yeah, thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one.